Hi everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we will discover the Chianti wine region. So Chianti is located in Tuscany, in central Italy. It is one of the most well-known and appreciated areas of the region by visitors from all over the world. Chianti is also an appellation and a word, a name, that is very famous in the wine world. I can give you an example as it was cited in the movie The Silence of the Lambs by Hannibal Lecter, portrayed by Anthony Hopkins.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
So the entire area of Chianti, which includes Chianti and Chianti Classico, contains vineyards in the 6 provinces of Arezzo, Florence, Pisa, Pistoia, Prato and Siena, with approximately 7,000 producers in over 100 municipalities. And the total vineyard area is approximately of 24,000 hectares, of which 7,000 hectares is for the Chianti Classico area, considered the best in terms of quality. Furthermore, there is a more restricted denomination of origin within the area, with 7 sub-areas that can be reported on the label. These are the Chianti Colli Aretini, around Arezzo, the Chianti Colli Fiorentini, around Florence, the Chianti Colline Pisane, around Pisa, the Chianti Colli Senesi, around Siena, the Chianti Montalbano, around Carmignano, the Chianti Montespertoli, and the Chianti Rufina, around Pontassieve. Rufina, Colli Senesi and Colli Fiorentini are considered the best. All other wines from the peripheral area are simply called Chianti. So as regards this history, the wine takes its name from the hilly landscape between the 2 cities of Florence and Siena, and is probably one of the best known in Italy. The name probably derives from that of an Etruscan family. The first mention of a Chianti wine dates back to 1404, when the famous merchant Francesco d'Attini, originally from Prato, purchased a white wine in Vigna Maggio. Originally, Chianti applied only to the areas around Radda, Gaiole and Castellina, in the province of Siena, sort of the classic core of Chianti Classico. The feudal lords of the Chianti Confederation already owned vineyards there in the 13th century. There is a beautiful legend about the origin of the ancient borders. Hostile citizens of the city-state of Siena and Florence wanted to end the eternal border disputes and determine spheres of influence through a contest. At the first break of the day, 2 knights, one from Siena and one from Florence, were to leave. The point where they will meet would be the final border between the 2 cities. The Sienese had a white rooster, which they fed so much that it became fat and lazy and made it sleep for a long time. The Florentines, on the other hand, had a black rooster that they starved to death, so they started crowing very early. Therefore, the knight was able to leave much earlier and met his opponent 15 kilometers before Siena, in Fonterrutoroli. In this way, Florence obtained a large part of Chianti region. The emblem of Chianti Classico is the black rooster and commemorates this event. A red Chianti was already produced in the High Middle Ages. However, the grape variety used have certainly changed. At that time, they were not prescribed or strictly or were not followed due to lack of controls, and were used very individually. Probably every winemaker produced the Chiantis based on the grape variety available in their vineyard. According to documentation from 1773, the Chianti of that time was largely composed of Canaiolo Nero, with smaller quantities of Sangiovese, Mamolo and Marzemino, all red varieties. But the white varieties, Trebbiano and San Colombano, were also mentioned. The legendary Baron Bettino Ricasoli conducted numerous experiments starting in 1850 to find an optimal blend, and in a letter from 1872, he summarized the results. He recommended Sangiovese as the main determining grape variety, 75%, and Canaiolo Nero for maturation. White Malvasia del Chianti, Malvasia Bianca Lunga, was suggested as an additive to wines to be enjoyed young, but explicitly not recommended for wines to be kept longer. White Trebbiano Toscano was not included in this recipe, but was added later, up to 10%. Other varieties were also permitted, with up to 5%. But until the end of the 19th century, most winemakers continued to use the old recipe with a high percentage of Canaiolo Nero. The recommendation proposed by Ricasoli was slow to catch on among tradition-minded wineries. In the mid-20th century, Chianti finally became a mass-market wine bottled in typical fiasco bottle, wrapped in raffia and exported in large quantities. The Chianti vineyards expanded enormously in all directions. This occurred as far north as Greve and San Casciano, east across the Florentine mountains to Arezzo, south well beyond Siena, and west as far as Pisa, very close to Tyrrhenian coast. Already in 1716, the Grand Duchy of Tuscany, under Cosimo III of the Medici family, defined one of the first protected designations of origin for the wine-growing areas. These were Capignano, Chianti, Pomino, and Valdarno di Sopra. With a decree, the boundaries were set, and wines from other areas were prohibited for being so named. The current Chianti region, which has grown in the meantime, is not a closed area, but overlaps many other DOC areas. Or Chianti can also be produced in other DOC areas. They are Camignano, Montalcino, Montepulciano, Pomino, Valdarbia, Valdiciana Toscana, and Vernaccia di San Gimignano. In 1996, a change was made with partial different regulation for Chianti and Chianti Classico. For Chianti, the specification per sub-area are slightly different regarding the yield per hectare, alcohol content, acidity, and of course aging in all barrels. Chianti Classico d'Annata is the one that must have at least 12 months of aging in all barrels. For Chianti Classico Riserva, the aging time is increased to 24 months, of which at least 3 months in the bottle. And Chianti Classico Gran Selezione is the cutting edge, and it is produced with grapes coming from a single vineyard or from a segregation of the best grapes with minimum aging of 30 months. Also in this case, at least 3 to 6 months in the bottle. The prescribed blend of grape varieties is composed of minimum 75 to 100% Sangiovese, a maximum of 10% Canaiolo Nero, and a maximum of 10% of other authorized grape varieties. Also, need to take note that there is also a maximum of 10% of white Tebriano Toscano varieties or Malvasia del Chianti. The maximum yield is 9,000 kilograms per hectare for normal Chianti and 8,000 kilograms per hectare for the 7 sub-areas. For famous Chianti producers, we can cite of course Antinori, Hacienda Agricola Querciabella, Barone Ricasoli, and more. As regards the climate of Chianti, it is continental with cold winters and very hot summers. The soil of Chianti across the region varies significantly, even within a single section of Chianti Classico, offering vintners a diversity of terroir from which to produce multi-layers and complex wines. Chianti Classico soils include layers of schistous clay, marl, rock, and fine sandstone. A fine Chianti from a good vintage can age and improve for 20 or more years when it is stored well. The average Chianti has a shelf life of at least 10 to 15 years. So it is a wine that you can keep and enjoy for the future. As regards its tasting profile, in Chianti we find fresh berries such as cherry, strawberry. There is also dry herbs, game, smoke, red fruits, and balsamic vinegar that are also typical flavor notes. High-end wines have flavors of sweet tobacco, espresso, dry salami, balsamic reduction, also preserved sour cherries, and dry oregano. The Chianti wines are great to enjoy with food because of the very savory flavors and high acidity and the gritty tannins. Pizzas and other heavy fatty foods are great to enjoy with it because the fat is cut through the strong acid content. Chianti wine goes really well also with a recipe that employs olive oil or with rich pieces of meat such as bistecca alla fiorentina, because of their dry and powdery tannin. Tuscany is also, apart from its wine, a beautiful region to visit, with a long history and beautiful infrastructures and sites that are the heritage of this history. Florence, Siena, Pisa, but also smaller places, such as San Gimignano, for example with the Gelateria Dondoli, which was 2 times world champion of gelato ice cream, and which I had a chance to visit when I was a kid. So thank you for watching this video about Chianti, we hope you liked it, and see you next time for another wine video. Cheers!
Thank you for watching this episode and don't forget to subscribe, like and share.